Well, great. Hello, everybody. We're still making a game. I'm
Yeah,
Dominic,
this is Jeff over here.
and this is our tank that is just out of range of these little guys.
Yeah, we got pretty far last time, didn't we? Or was the time before? I
I
think
think I
stream.
think both.
Yeah, I think
We
first
did,
half of the last stream, we
yeah,
yeah
because that was where we were doing. We added the range for things in the first half, and the second half we did line formulas. Um,
yeah
but let's maybe finish this off because I think we kind of, I think we actually think we're kind of right. We just didn't test this at all, right?
yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, maybe we should write a test. Actually, I'll keep that. Okay, cool.
And eventually, I mean, the sort of like over to remind ourselves, the overarching goal was so that we could make sure that the turrets didn't try to shoot through walls.
Right, we'd like them not
At
to
least
aim at
their
the
at least
player
their
right now.
at least their own walls. Yeah. And
Yeah,
eventually, I think we're upping our collision detection game and our geometry game so that eventually we can have better collision detection in general. Because like, those bullets shouldn't be punching through the wall the way they are right
right.
now for those three turrets, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, I think this is, even if we spend a little longer on it, it's some really helpful stuff to get in there. Um,
Yeah,
and I think we have sort of a problem. We've seen a couple issues, and there's also some funny stuff around like the player not being able to drive through walls at the right angle. So I'm hoping we can actually like make collisions. If they are correct, we won't have to deal with the strange edge cases. So
yeah.
let's see. Let's do some tests. Let's import some segment. Oops. No, gosh. What happens if I minimize the window on stream? Does it come back? It comes back. Great. So let's see. Test intersecting. Let's say perpendicular lines. And did you use a test framework for this, or is this just built in?
So this is Jest,
Cool.
and basically somehow the IDE knows that like .test.ts is Jest, and it doesn't complain about
Great.
the lack of the import. I'm not sure what witchcraft it uses to be aware of that. But it's a little bit like how an RSpec test file, you don't have to import describer. It just knows, right?
Right. That's cool. So let's do. Let's set up some tiny little test cases here. So let's see. So if we want to start with a segment at -1, 0, from -1, 0 to vec2 dot from values 1, 0. So that's just a horizontal line on the x-axis. And then here we'll do,
So,
yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to test.
Here. Right.
And really, I'm basically just testing the collision of the axes here.
Right.
1, segment 2.
If I draw, how is this? Is it showing up on? Oh, it doesn't show up on screen at all.
Doesn't show up on screen. Wait, let me let me see if I can add a window capture so that we do get that, because that'd be cool. Let's see. There's a tuple. That's you. Might be this one. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
But I am not seeing it on stream right now. But maybe
I've just gotta yeah, I have to make sure I get it on top. Tuple drawing. I think right now it's just behind everything. And it's also extremely large and off center. Okay. All right, this is all in the service of letting the stream see our beautiful drawings. All right, try drawing something now. Yep, that'll be there. Sick.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so why? Oh, it's because this is actually expected to be a vec2, vec2, not just a arbitrary. Vec2, vec2.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because otherwise, since we specified it as a tuple, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. And then our JUnit is to be true.
I was reading the latest design doc for the Go generics spec because there's been a long back and forth since the birth of the language. Is that one of your kittens?
It's one of the kittens. Yeah, it's where you can just hide off camera and meow, but apparently she can. There's another one.
She sounds like a human imitating a cat.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, these little monsters are. Wait, man, this cat is really going wild, buddy. Chill. This happens all night, all fucking night long. It's great.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's complaining.
Yes, because it was false, which is great. Quick reality check. Those two line segments should intersect. I think so.
Yeah, there's a lot of special cases we haven't handled yet in the code, right?
True. Would it be helpful maybe to do something less zero-y to start off?
Yeah, let's do an X, so they're 45 degrees. I think that'll do it. So
Okay,
if we just do -1, -1.
To 1, 1, yeah.
To 1, 1, and then...
That's it, right? Yeah.
1, -1.
To -1, 1?
To -1, yes, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Yeah, you just want 2 negatives and 2 positives.
Yeah, I think that is correct. All right, come on, little guy. You can do it. Great. Okay.
Yeah, so that worked.
45-degree angle.
Yeah, and they're still perpendicular to each other, right?
Oh, that's true. A perpendicular x.
Wait, are they? I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah. It's this.
Okay, yeah. It should just be the 45-degree rotation.
Yeah. So really, yeah. So this is test.
A perpendicular to x.
Yeah.
Neither is vertical, right? Because the vertical one is one of the interesting special cases, right?
Right. Yeah, perpendicular, neither vertical. Okay, so that's actually right. So of course, I put a vertical one in there. We know that is a fail. So let's do perpendicular intersecting, neither vertical. And then this is going to be perpendicular non-intersecting, neither vertical.
Yeah, so basically they're going to be disjoint. So
should be, yeah. So a lot of tests that look a lot like that. So really, let's see, if we just offset this to like,
you can offset the first one. Just make it like 2, 2, 3, 3. Right? You're just sliding it along the line up like towards the northeast.
Ah, okay, yeah. That makes sense. And that should come out false. Were you using npx to run your jest, or do we have it in the...
Yeah, I was doing yarn test, actually.
Oh, great. Okay. Also passes. Yeah, I'll switch to yarn because I was like, this seems like it's maybe doing some remote checks every time. Okay, great. That's pretty cool. What is another check we could do? We want to make sure that one, is there a case where one line is horizontal and one is not that is interesting?
Horizontal line.
That
let's
just
just
works.
do it. Let's just
Yeah,
do it.
okay.
It should just work. But yeah, let's do it. So we'll take the -1, -1 to 1, 1, and then we'll do -1, 0, 1, 0, right? Something like that.
Oh, I changed this, but I did not need to.
Yeah.
So
and is reversing the order of the two useful at all? Maybe that might be too much busy work, but like, there's a lot of depth that we could try to test this, where we could reverse the order of the two segments.
I think, especially since we can run it in the same test, there's no reason not to. I can imagine a case where we totally could screw up ordering things, so why not?
And we could even reverse the order in which the segments are defined too, right? So if we had like, we had 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. We should be able to do it if you reverse. Yeah. Anyways, there's like it gets combinatorial at a certain point.
Yep, but I could call dot reverse on this on another one.
Yeah. Oh, there's a dot reverse.
Yeah, and we have, since they're just arrays, we could just. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So this is going to be, one is horizontal, and then we're going to do this 45-degree line through there. So let's see, that's -1 to 1, and this crosses that, yeah, at a 45-degree angle. Test. Okay, cool. We didn't actually get to test any of this last time, so it's really exciting to see that this is working.
It actually runs. Whoa!
Whoa? Oh, sorry.
No. I was just saying whoa at the progress bar.
Oh, that yarn tested. Yep. Received false. Okay. And this is, okay, great. So we got a failing case. Wonderful.
And this is when we haven't tested successfully yet, right?
Yeah, so let's check our math here real quick. Segment 1 is definitely on the x-axis. And segment 2, so 1, -1, 2.
Yeah, it's 45 degrees going from quadrant 2 to
quadrant 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think that crosses at 0, 0. Is it weird that it crosses at 0, 0?
It shouldn't matter.
Yeah. Because what we're getting the point of intersection, and then we're just calculating between. So yeah, that should be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do a is there like test dot only? Yeah, great. Because what oops. So let's see. Got this. We've got our line formula. Maybe it's worth logging the line formula of each one of these.
Sure.
Yeah. PC.
I realized last time I kind of described a somewhat idiosyncratic line formula in that I think these formulas represent like ax plus by equals c, and I think traditionally the way that they're written is actually ax plus by plus c equals 0. So it's basically the c value, the third value in the array is going to be negative of what normal math would be. But as long as we're consistent in our algebra, it's not like it's wrong. It's just unconventional. We can also breakpoint debug, right? I don't know if you have a launch.json that will do that for you.
How does that work in this sucker? Let me see.
Yeah. Let me Slack you something right now.
Please.
So you want to start a .vs Code folder if you don't already have one.
Okay. Let's make a new one.
Oh, I actually don't have one. I'm sorry, I don't have one for Jest. I do have one in my other repository, though. Let me open that up.
Cool.
See if I can find it. But yeah, breakpoint debugging in these cases is quite nice.
Yeah, and since I added a breakpoint here, is it not going to pause automatically? I guess I haven't done this in this yet.
Yeah, I think... Let me see here. Okay. This is going into Slack.
Sweet.
I actually have a thing where it will breakpoint debug in the browser as well while it's running, which is cool too.
Whoa, that is cool.
Essentially, like the VS Code can attach to the debugging runtime in Chrome or Firefox or whatever. Yeah.
That's amazing. And this goes in the VS Code folder. What is it? What's the file name?
Oh, I'm sorry. The file name is called launch.json.
Cool. Nice. Do I need to relaunch my entire project?
It doesn't hurt to do that with VS Code.
Let's do it.
Command Shift P reload.
Oh, I quit the application.
Yeah.
And assume it'll come back in a somewhat usable form. Yeah, and it did. It's nice that the OBS is keyed off of like some form of the window ID that makes this really, really workable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole universe of computing that I don't really understand, is like how different operating systems or different window managers really like what is the information hierarchy of actual physical instances of Windows, right?
Yeah, it's an excellent question.
Yeah. So the way you do this, actually, you would if you want to try running it, you wouldn't run it from the terminal.
Okay.
You'd open your test file, which is collision.test.ts, make that the thing, and then oh, interesting, you do not have a debugging option on your action bar. Like the very left-hand panel does not have a debugger on it.
Oh, you know what? I probably, you want run, huh?
Run, yeah. If you click the play icon there.
Whoa. Okay.
And we don't have any breakpoints right now, so it should just run straight through.
There's one in collision, so I would expect it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. What is the output saying right now? Should be running, but
interesting.
Oh, it's not running right now. If you click play one more time, do that.
Let's put a breakpoint.
Like it's like crapping out.
Yeah. It does seem like it's crapping out.
We're not getting any error results or anything like that, huh?
No problems. Nothing in the debug console. The server's not running. Is that okay?
Yeah, that should be totally fine. Do we have? If we look at that, is everything? If we look at the launch.json, I just want to take a look at the code really quickly.
Yeah.
Node modules jest bin jest, that exists, right?
Let's make sure.
I mean, you were running jest before, so I think this is
I was running npm though, but is that executable? It's executable. Yeah. Oops. Well, actually, this probably needs to be just.js for me.
Okay, yeah. I copied this from an older project, so maybe this is different now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oops. No, I'm writing this file, which is useless. What the heck? Huh.
And then there's no output. it's just saying it died from.
Yeah, weirdly, my thing keeps crashing. Huh.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I can't open a terminal anymore. That's too bad.
Is your launch.json? It's correct JSON, right? There's no like parsing errors or anything like that right now. It looks like you're missing a closing brace, maybe. Oh, I see. It just wasn't complete. We need like an extra, like we need to close the array, and we need to close.
Oh,
closing array, something like that.
Yeah. Great point. That?
Yeah. That's weird that's not complaining about that.
Yeah, it should be angrier. Let's see if that works.
Who knows? This is giving me flashbacks to me installing Linux on a MacBook the last day and a half.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm doing it to myself. It's fun.
Yep. Time to get a sweet gaming PC to do it on. Instead, okay, my terminal doesn't crash. Okay. That's a good start. Whoa. Cool. Okay, it's clearly running a thing.
And we've broken, and now we
Dude,
have.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to kill this. I'd actually like to do that again. So we're going to only do it for this test. Okay. And I'll put the breakpoint here, and I'll learn how to step into functions. Well, I didn't know VS Code did this, but now I'm very happy, and I shouldn't have been surprised.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you probably did this in Xcode a lot, right?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. It's just like in my head, like JavaScript can't do this. And I know that's actually wrong because like it's in the browser too. It just doesn't come up very often.
Yep.
Okay, so here we are in our line segment for segment 1.
And what is segment 1 again? Segment 1 is the horizontal line.
Segment 1 is the horizontal line, yeah. So we have -0, 1, and 0 as our A, B, and C, which is...
That is equivalent to the line y equals 0, right? Because B is the coefficient on y, and A is the coefficient on x. And then C is the thing on the other side of the equal sign. And so y equals 0 is that line, right? Because it's basically any point where y equals 0. So that is the horizontal, that is the x-axis, right? Any
point where y equals 0, because it's ax plus by.
Yeah.
Man.
Basically, it has no deviation from the x-axis, right? That means that the y value is of 0. So that's correct, I think.
Okay. And then our second one is 1, 1, 0.
Right. So any line where if you sum the x and y value, they're equal to 0, which seems correct, right? Because if you have -1 and 1, which is one of the points on the segment, you add them together, that's 0. And then if you have 1 and -1, you add them together, that's 0. So that is also correct.
That does seem correct. Okay.
Are you getting not a number for either y or x? Oh yeah, we would, because A is 0 on these lines, right? So if you divide by 0, you're gonna get something funky.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we divide by not a number. Okay, great. So that is a special case we need to handle, and this is going to be handle horizontal, handle vertical.
Yeah, so horizontal, it's actually handle when S1 is horizontal in particular, right?
Because we use that, yeah.
it's
Okay.
yeah.
And is that also true? Is this only S1 vertical? Yes. Because we divide by... Is it also the division by A for that?
Yeah, so it's basically, there's two cases that this math is going to fail. One is where A equals 0, which means that S1 is horizontal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second case where this is going to fail is if the denominator on expression for const y is 0. So that's that
Right.
minus 0 times b divided by a plus v,
Mm-hmm.
that whole expression.
Right. Okay.
And that's a complicated expression.
Mm-hmm.
It includes coefficients from both the first segment and the second segment. And I'm not sure what that implies.
Would that also...
Yeah,
Does it imply no intersection? Like, I guess that's the other case, is that there is no point of intersection.
it could be that they're parallel, right?
Yeah.
That could be the parallel case. And I know when I was reading another write-up of how to do this problem, the sort of Stack Overflow one, they said that collinearity was also an issue. Like if you have like multiple points of intersection, some algorithms that detect this need a special case for that.
Okay.
If you have more than one, you have infinite, basically.
Right.
And I'm not actually sure if our formulation runs into that problem. By the math, it doesn't seem like it really, right?
It's also, would it be fairly easy to figure out? No, we could have different A, B, C, U, V, W that are actually like the same equation, right?
Yeah. So it's pretty tricky. That denominator, like negative u times b divided by a plus v, there's like a ton of different situations where that might equal 0. It basically equals 0 if u times b divided by a, or negative u times b divided by a is equal to v. Or rather than negative that. So if u times b divided by a is equal to v, then that'll be 0, right?
Yeah.
The other way it'll be 0 is if v is 0 and either u is 0 or b is 0. It's complicated.
Right, and I think u or v, that could be the, it's one of those, the vertical line case where that fails. I think it is. That's S2 vertical, basically.
Yeah, so I think I think we'll never have a case where both u and v are 0 at the same time. Correct. If u and v are 0 at the same time, there's no line formula. That's basically like because it's ux plus vw equals, sorry, ux plus vy equals w, right? So there's never going to be a situation where both u and v are both 0, right? But you can have a situation where b and v are both 0. If b and v are both 0, that means that you have two vertical lines. That they're two vertical parallel lines. Right? Because it's going to be like x equals some value, and then the other one is x equals some constant value, which are two vertical lines. And they will overlap if they are collinear, though.
Is it worth, since we're returning our slope here, is it worth comparing the two slopes? Is this correctly a slope? Maybe is the better question.
Is that line formula? It's not a slope. I think the slope is actually the ratio of the coefficients of y and x.
Okay.
Yeah, the slope is actually negative negative b over a. Right.
Gotcha.
Because if you just take the line formula ax plus by equals c and you move x over to the right side of that equation, you'd have you'd have by equals negative ax plus c, and then you divide both sides by b, so you just get y on one side. So that'd be y equals negative b divided by a times x plus c divided by a. Sorry, that's a lot of algebra done verbally.
I think we actually might have written some of that out. I think it's somewhere in here.
Yeah. I think it's basically that line 80 is roughly what it is. It's not the slope per se because we have x on the left-hand side. So if we did y on the left-hand side, it'd just be like we just flip a and b basically.
Gotcha. Okay. So how do we handle that case then?
How do we handle the case where they're both vertical?
Yeah.
We basically have to say if
we're just checking it. Yeah.
If b equals 0 and v equals 0. It's not that it's going to be false. It's going to be that we'd have to just basically do a x-axis overlap check.
Ah, okay, right. So we actually
just say if the first point of if the first point if the x coordinate of any of the 2 points of the first segment is equal to the x coordinate of any of the 2 points of the second segment, then they're overlapping.
Is this? Do we do our? We want to turn between. One 0, and this is S2 0 0. I think I might have just done backwards of what you said, but that is. Oh, come on!
I'm trying to think here.
That is, does segment 2's x fall, does either x point on segment 2 fall between the x coordinates on, oh, but if b and, actually we only need to check one of these if b and v are 0 because it's vertical, so, and if they're both, wait, if they're vertical, then segment 1's x is also the same, so is it actually it's an x equivalency check?
Yeah. See, the problem though is if it's just an x equivalency check, we're still not checking for y-axis overlap.
Oh, sorry. These should all be y. Yeah. We want to check that x is the same and that the y is somewhere.
The other thing we could do is remember how we talked earlier about doing like a bounding box overlap check as the first early thing. That's like an early check where we basically say, figure out what their bounding boxes are, and if the bounding boxes don't even overlap, then you're never going to have an overlap, right? As like a check. I
think we should absolutely do that.
So if their bounding boxes do overlap and we get to this check here, we know that it's just return true at this point. Because if you have a bounding box overlap and you have two vertical lines, then you know that they're overlapping with each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Indeed it does. Okay, well, then that's silly, but this is what it is, which is x equal and the y's are in range. But yeah. Do we have do we have a quick bounding box check? That's on a different file, right? We should bring that in here as const align rect collision.
Yeah, I feel like we did have like an AABB collision check or something like that, but I don't remember if we just stuck it in the wall collider or if it was
hitbox. That is the AABB.
Hitbox might be overkill because you can do rotations with hitbox, and we don't care about that here. This might be primitive enough that we can just like inline it, and it's not the end of the world. But
here we go. AABB overlap.
Oh, fantastic! Now this AABB assumes that position A and position B are ordered correctly, right? It assumes that position A is the northwest corner and that B is the southeast corner, and we're gonna have to figure out what that is. Okay. And we don't actually. It's actually wrong because we can't use that directly because we might not have the northwest corner and the southeast corner. We might have the southwest corner and the northeast corner. Right. We have to manipulate like how the segments were written out.
Right. So we actually need to turn it. Well, and that's okay because we can collect that from these points.
We can.
Yeah.
You take the min x. You take the minimum x coordinate and the minimum y coordinate of points on a segment, and then the other one is maximum x coordinate and the maximum y, right?
Yeah. S1 AABB, S2 AABB, and from points goes P1 to.
Yeah, I mean, we could do just from a segment, and it just could be the same structure.
That's I was gonna. Yeah, that's a lot nicer because why even bother? And then this is
also vec2.
Yeah. And then we can import AABB. Nope. Well, we'll get to that in a second. P from segment S1. Okay, so const northwest equals.
Did you vec2 from values of?
Yeah, thank you.
Math.min.
Sorry, I just realized that's what the problem was. Math.min and then S0, 0, S1, 0.
Correct.
The min x's. And math.min of the y's. 0.
Oh, wait. This is aligned. Oh yeah, because
this is okay.
Because y increases going downwards.
Yeah.
So this is good. This is good.
Return northwest, southeast. Southeast equals 2 from values. What did I get wrong here?
Same thing as that, but the second array index is going to be 1 for all of those.
Yeah.
It's the y's that we care about.
Wait, what did I just do? Oh, yeah.
It should be math. Yeah, math. Actually, it's just math.max, right? It's the same thing, but it should be math.max for this one. Sorry, I'm confusing you.
No, that's okay. Great. Spell your variables right. And ABB overlap S1, S2.
So if you basically say if not that, then return.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. We don't even need to store this. Return false.
Oh, you're talking about like inlining the AABB from segment calls? Is that what you're saying?
No. Though I guess we probably don't need that either. Good point. No, I just wanted to see why this was not importing. Let's do it manually. import ABB overlap from
/math. Yeah.
And yeah, we can just, these variables don't need to be saved. Oops. Great. So in this case, taking us all the way back, if they are both, well, vertical? If they're both vertical, this is true because we know they're overlapping.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should we run a quick test for that, maybe?
Yes. Wait, do we have a real? What is the failure for this too? I'll write the test, but I want to make sure we get both sides of that. And let's kill this one for a second because we're not even close.
Yeah, I think what we want is like 3 cases. One is if they're collinear and overlapping. The other is if they're collinear and not overlapping. Actually, 4 cases. Collinear, overlapping, collinear, not overlapping. Both vertical, but not overlapping on...
Right.
Oh, no. If they're not overlapping on the x-axis, then it's fine. that's the collinear and
yeah,
collinear not overlapping case. So then the only other thing that we want to worry about is they just don't have the same x coordinate at all.
Okay. Not overlapping. Right. Test vertical, not overlapping. On X.
Yeah.
All right, back to our runner. And then let's see. So this will be. Let's take a whole test. So let's see. So we'll take like x is 1, y is 1, x is 1, y is 4. And so this is x is 1, y is 2, x is 1, y is 3. And that is collinear overlapping segment.
Yeah. And this is actually, in fact, a special case where one of the lines is totally subsumed in another one.
Mm-hmm. And this one is same line formula, non-overlapping.
Yeah, so the x coordinates can still be 1. We just need to monkey with the y coordinates. So
yep.
yeah.
I got the y's are 1 to 4 is for segment, 5 to 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is 1 to 4, and this can be like x is 2.
Yeah, that's a perfect test because they're actually overlapping on the y-axis this time, or they're 100% overlapping on the y-axis. Yeah.
All right, go. Man, I feel so silly for not knowing this is in VS Code. How delightful.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It does everything. Do you get to use this at work, or do they have a house editor that they prefer?
So we do. VS Code is pretty much dominant at work right now. I think I'm actually one of the last remaining Sublime Text holdouts. Although really? I will go. Sorry, there's a motorcycle that just drove by. I will occasionally go into VS Code to do exactly this, to do like visual breakpoint debugging, but I oftentimes use the command line debugger as well.
My test was wrong.
Oh.
I had collinear non-overlapping as expect segment to be true.
Oh, right.
Oh, I guess I forgot to. Well, whatever. That'll pass in a second. Okay. So that's one case. For S1 horizontal,
We haven't written. Oh yes. So if one of them is horizontal, then we just need to find.
We need to apply the function to find what if it's horizontal, we need to find what the value is on S2 at Y, and then find out if that's on the line segment, right?
I feel like if one of them is horizontal and we've already done the bounding box check, the overlap should be there. Is that?
Oh.
Try to convince yourself of that. The bounding box on one of them is is actually reduced down to a line, right?
I love it. Yep, totally. I absolutely agree with that.
So if A equals 0, then it's just returned true, right?
Mm-hmm. I really like applying that.
Yeah. It's triple equals.
Oops.
Is it possible to limp band weak equals, or are there still times that we think it's necessary?
I never think it's necessary. They're yeah. Oh, cool. Everything passed before. I just put back our horizontal line test. And that's still false.
The second one, when we reverse the order.
Oh, great. And
that's good. This is good.
Yeah, and that's because we're checking
just A.
Yeah, and we can. Is it if A is 0? So we're saying if we're handling a single horizontal line, right?
Yeah.
Actually, any horizontal line, because of the bounding box check. If A is 0 or U is 0, we can assume we've done the bounding box check.
Yeah.
And if they're both 0 and the check passes, we also know it's true.
Yeah.
Hey. Ain't that nice? And I think we've got some of our same line checks starting to be handled, but maybe not all of them. Either horizontal. That's passing.
Okay.
So
now,
let's see what. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the math. What case do we eliminate there? The A equals 0 case is clear. I'm just looking at 90 and 91. And I'm just trying to now. I'm just like curious from a math perspective what we just did, because B equals 0. Then it doesn't matter what the value of V is in that equation down there. You know that you have an overlap. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to convince myself of that. I mean, I totally agree. Like the bounding box check full on. Like if there's a bounding box overlap and then either of them are horizontal or vertical, basically, like if there's a bounding box overlap and we've reduced either of the two segments down to a vertical or horizontal, then you know you have an overlap. That's basically what we're saying here.
So we could eliminate this by
or.
Right? Or yeah, and then we can safely say that V is also, and I think that's correct because of the bounding box check above. So
yeah, these two could be combined together. Like if A is 0 or B is 0 or U is 0 or V is 0, then you know that we have horizontals or verticals.
That is true. And I'm going to alphabetize it. Cool. Okay, so no point of intersection.
That means that somehow we cannot calculate x and y. That expression for x and y will fail somehow.
Yeah, so I think the only way this is going to ever be true is for truly parallel lines, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Parallel 45-degree lines. So let's see. So let's take this one, and then segment 2 will be the same line offset like 3.
Yeah, these are parallel horizontal lines. It'd be good if we did
No, oh, sorry. Yeah, they should be parallel. Yes.
or these are parallel vertical lines.
No, yeah, it should be from there. And then we'll do this from 4. We'll make this 5. And 3. Yeah. Wait. Sorry. Positive 3. So now that's offset. Yeah.
You basically added 4 to the y-axis. You just
correct.
bumped the line. You shifted it up by Okay, cool. And we're not checking for that anywhere. I mean, I think what's going to happen is we're going to get not a number mixed into the math somewhere, right?
I was kind of hoping this just wouldn't work, but it might crash at some point. So yeah.
Yeah. Are the bounding boxes overlap for those two?
No. Should we try to get it a little closer? Let's do that.
Yeah. Let's just add 1, right?
Yep.
Let's just see. Yeah.
Because those should overlap.
Yeah, they do.
Great. Let's put this into breakpoint. Give me a play.
I'm hoping we get a divide by 0 and not a number gets mixed in there somehow.
Yeah, I think that has to happen.
Otherwise, our math is wrong.
All right, moment of truth. Our math has felt pretty good so far, though.
Yeah.
I like that it's only...
It never feels intuitive to me. It's just like...
Yeah. Okay, so A, B overlap should be true. Yep, got that. Okay, so these are the same functions, and then W is our offset of 1. That's great.
Yep.
None of these are that. Oh, where did you pop me up to? What? I'm sorry, V is infinity? Take me out of between. Okay. We're definitely getting some errors.
Yeah. So you're saying a JavaScript error?
Yeah, but here, we'll get the Y this time. I messed up. Oh yeah, it's just having a huge problem, which I assume is... I can't believe that passed. Hang on.
Well, it's not gonna throw, right? Because you're just gonna get. I think Y is not a number. It's we're having breakpoint issues, right? It's just not breaking there.
It's not. Yeah, it's not breaking the right way. I'll put in 1 on return here. I just want to see what it thinks Y and X are.
Okay.
Because as long as they're not a number, between should... Oh, you know what it is? Between is having trouble. Min-max is then having trouble because V is infinity and negative infinity.
Yep.
It's not a number. It's infinity. That explains why...
What value?
Let's find out.
It should be either X or Y, right?
Yeah.
That's V inside the between function. What are we passing in there?
We're passing... One of these returned... That's where I saw the infinity. Hang on. I thought I did. That's really weird. Wait, am I running dot only? Let me run this on dot
We're
only.
running all the test cases right now, right? I think we're...
Yeah, now we're not. Uh,
Yeah. By the way, the little green reload button will also rerun the test.
damn it.
So,
That
yeah.
That's very clever.
And I'm sure there's some hotkey. Maybe F5 or something like that. That's what it was in Visual Studio.
Oh
Not
man,
Visual Studio, but like old school C++ Visual Studio.
I never used that. That's amazing. Let's fire back at these real quick. Is it breaking or is it just taking forever to get here? Okay, there we go.
It's taking forever. That's slower than I want it to be, but
it could be all the streaming that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where x and y are both infinity.
Okay, so is a, what is the value of a again? Oh, it's y is infinity, so x is going to be infinity, right? Because x is a function.
Yep, exactly.
Which means that, is this the case where negative, it's just that where negative u times b divided by a is equal to v, right? Negative u is what? 1, and then b is 1, and a is -1, so that's -1, and then v is 1. So if you add this, that's 0, right?
Okay, great. Why is that? I thought it was not a number, though, the last time we divided by 0. That's so interesting.
I think divide by 0 is infinity. That's the way that they defined it.
To the console. So it is. Great.
Yeah, and if you divide it by like -0 or -1 divided by 0, you get negative infinity, right?
So is this just if a or if x or y? I mean, I think it actually does fail appropriately, but we might as well just y is infinity.
Yeah, I would almost rather not
do
infinity and just. I think what we want is we want to create another number called let's call it d or divider or something like that, and just set that to the line 82. You see that negative u times b. Just set that to a variable, and if that's equal to 0, then you know that it's going to be infinity, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If divisor equals 0, return no intersection.
It's actually it's not this that there's no intersection. I think this is when they're parallel. I don't know how to prove that, but I think that's the case that's describing. It's more specific than just not having an intersection.
Oh, right. Well, that's the only case that these two lines can have no intersection, right? Because we're calculating any point.
Exactly. Yeah. This is both of these are still lines.
Right. They're lines, not segments at this point. So okay, cool. All right, I like it. Okay, great. Then let's run this test, and then the next test I want to write while this is running. Oops. Is there a quick way to turn off all breakpoints? Because I feel like I want to do that fairly often.
Kind of. You see the breakpoints panel on the you can kind of switch them off and switch them on, or delete them as well.
That's
I don't know if you could turn them all off at the same time.
Okay, I could deal with that one though. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So we want to test the same line segment.
Yeah.
And we want this to be true, right?
Correct.
-1, -1. From values 1, 1. I could actually just pass this in twice. Okay, that's cool. Hey, this code is working. And so if we have the same values, if if everything is the same, is it just it's divide by 1? That didn't work. Okay. Let's step into that.
That's actually interesting. Like, right, this is where we have more than one point of intersection, right?
Yeah. So really, it's if
this is a collinear case.
Yeah. So should we do? This is collinear and non-axis aligned overlapping line segments. Yeah. Because we do collinear on axes already.
Correct. So that's another case where we don't have a single solution for x and y, right? And it is possible that. Okay, so that makes a little bit. I don't know if it makes more sense to me, but that expression that we're checking to see if it's equal to 0 is very complicated, and it's not obvious to me that that means that they're parallel. And I think this is actually capturing a case that is quite complicated. This is like negative u times b divided by a plus b. That is both parallel and collinear. Is that what I'm getting out of this?
Yes.
Well, what is the x and y value? Or sorry, yeah. What is the divisor in your final test case?
That's what I'm trying to get at. Because none of them are. Sorry, say again.
We have a dot only on that test case.
We do, yes. Yeah, it's sort of not intuitive to me how. I feel like sometimes sometimes I hit jump to the next line and it seems to actually go somewhere far different. Okay, so we have 1 times 1 divided by 1 plus 1. Like this number should be 2, right?
Negative u is 1 times b times 1. Yeah, divided by negative 1 plus b. So it should be 0. Because a is negative.
Okay. This comes out to C again. Oh, and we're getting false. I see. Great.
So this is either parallel or collinear. So collinear does mean parallel. So that actually makes sense. It's parallel.
Yep.
But we don't.
Well, so is this a case of? So it's parallel. We know that the boxes are overlapping.
But it doesn't matter. Like we already have a case where they're parallel, the boxes are overlapping, but we know it's false, right?
Well, I was going to say, if they're the same function, then should we return true? Like if A equals U, B equals V, C equals W, it's the same segment?
Yeah, although they could be multiples of each other, I think. Like I believe like negative 2 equals 0 is the same thing as
okay.
Negative 1, 0, right? Like they could be if they're multiples of each other, right? And so that's quite tricky.
So this should be, I think this fails in a similar way, which is vec2 dot from values, like negative 5, 5, vec2 dot from values. So we're examining a chunk of the segment.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Yep. Yeah, I want to see that.
And then there's also the case where they're overlapping, but they're not 100% overlapping each other. Like essentially, just like imagine the diagonal line and then one that is partially overlapping it, right? But not 100% subsuming it.
Right. Okay. Once we get this one, let's do that because I'm also curious. Yeah, that'd be like negative 1 to 1, 1, and then 0, 0 to 2, 2.
We might still end up with the same line formula here because there's dividing. The reason why this is all hard to understand is, and why I say it's not intuitive, is I'm not sure how to create a line formula that's a multiple of another one.
Yeah. What's it's the line formula, not the second formula. It should be exactly the same line formula, right? Like it can't be a different line formula for the line between those 2 points.
Well, the thing is, that might be true based on the way that we're deriving the line formula, but like you can have multiple formulas that describe the exact same line.
Okay.
Because it just means that there's like a constant multiplier on both sides, right?
Yeah, okay.
Let's
see. I have a breakpoint here, and you're not working. These are actually contained inside each other, right? They are. Interesting. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
So, I mean, if we look at the implementation of line formula, maybe we could convince ourselves that like we're getting some kind of quote unquote normalized line formula. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I found a problem. I think our... Oh, I found the problem. That's not the right line segment.
I love it.
I do as well. Yeah, I guess that's the question. Is this normalized? Could we normalize?
Yeah.
And if not, what then? Come on, little dude. Just run. Okay, that does not matter anymore. Our divisor, these look normalized to me.
Yeah, again, like I don't know what's guaranteeing that. I just don't know if you're always guaranteed that, right?
Yeah, that's fair. And then it's unhappy on divide by 0. I feel like this immediately breaks the test with a failure, or immediately breaks out this function with like undefined. It's weird, but I can't seem to jump over this line. Oops.
Oh, the step over button doesn't work there.
It's every time I step over this divisor line when it's coming out as 0, it's ending up somewhere else.
That is super weird.
Yeah.
It could be the debugger that's confused. This is the reason why I don't like Visual Studio Code sometimes, is that there are a number of things exactly like this that happen, and it makes me feel like it doesn't
actually work.
It works 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, it doesn't understand like what I'm doing. Yeah,
not being correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so I put a breakpoint after that to get back to divisor 0. So it does execute this code. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So can I take a look at the math for line formula again? I don't even remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably super complicated.
No, I thought it was actually pretty simple. It's slope, y-intercept, and 1.
Oh, it's funny that we're doing the epsilon math there on line 11, but we're not doing it anywhere else. I'm not sure what to...
True.
I'm not sure what effect that's going to have. It might mean that like on lines that are close to vertical and close to horizontal, we're going to have weird behavior for this thing. Right, because like divisor could not, like, especially if you go down to our overlap check, like this line 81, it could be that divisor is not 100% equal to 0, but it could be like very close to 0.
Yeah.
You get some extremely large value for y, right?
Right.
In which case, I'm not sure how it blows. I'm not quite sure how it blows up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put a.
And similarly for all the 0 checks on line 75, right?
Yeah. Do epsilons. Yeah, so these aren't fixed mains. These are all to do's, do epsilons.
Mm-hmm.
We should add a little epsilon function to math.
Yeah, I wonder if the GL matrix has that. Like, because I know GL matrix does have an epsilon value, but I don't remember what exactly they use it for.
Oh yeah, geomatrix dot epsilon.
They do an equals there between. And do they have an equals for scalars? They do. That's a scalar comparison.
It's geomatrix dot equals. Neat.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good library. So maybe we switch to that.
I mean, that's probably what that other check should be, right? The one that says like, if rise is less than.
Yeah, there should be geomatrix 0. They shouldn't be geomatrix 0.
Yeah, because we did an absolute value there. It should just be like geomatrix dot equals 0, right? Something like that.
Let's see if we can just do that. Is it this or is it?
It should be comma equals. Yeah.
I think it's common.
Common. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be common.
It didn't look like common was a namespace that it exported either. Let's try equals. Bummer.
Is it not exporting it at all? Is that the issue?
And make sure it's not a not use error. If that is 0. Yeah, it like doesn't believe in this.
It's funny because there is a geomatrix module. There's like a top level.
Oh, okay. We need to import geomatrix. Yeah.
I mean, it is exporting equals. I just don't understand how it's composing this into a module. That's all.
It's exporting. It's declaring itself as that, but equals is actually under the geomatrix namespace that gets exported.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's like there's a namespace that's parallel to vec2. It's a child of the library. Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So let's see. Let's do this the fun way.
Nice.
Love it. So satisfying.
Mm-hmm. And then, do we do that for the line formula one as well?
I put it up here for where we had that check. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and sorry, all that was taking us back. We still have 0. We still get this. We're in this case when the lines are parallel but intersecting, parallel but collinear.
Parallel and maybe collinear. Right? That's what it means. Because you can't be collinear without being parallel, but you can be parallel without being collinear, right?
Yeah, and we're not convinced by this.
Implies parallelism, but not the other way around. Boy, don't we sound like a couple of math professors right now? It's incredible.
Seriously. Lines are collinear. So I'm putting this in there. I'm also not totally convinced it's correct yet, but
do we want to do geomatrix dot equals here as well?
Yeah, why not? Just in case there's some jitter.
Yeah.
And so,
oops. I'm not sure if this is correct either.
Yeah, I'm kind of willing to live with it for a second and see if our collisions are super weird though.
Yeah. So one way to test this would be to do the case where they are collinear but not 100% overlapping, and see if they come up with the same line formula.
Okay. Yeah,
I bet if our numbers are like really far from 0, right? Because we're pretty close to the origin right now. But I bet if our numbers are really far from 0, the floating point errors start to come in. You know.
So this is semi-overlapping. I don't know why I did this. These can all be smaller.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So that should be true. And then collinear non-axis line, non-overlapping.
By the way, what do you use for, what's your testing library of choice these days for JavaScript?
It's Jest. It's always Jest.
Does Jest do a nested thing like RSpec? Does it do contexts and examples, or is it just
Oh, I don't know. I kind of always end up writing them like this.
Yeah.
So, good question.
And if you're testing multiple functions, what do you do? Do you put multiple files, or do you stick one unit per test, or like what do you do?
If I'm testing multiple functions in the same file, I would test collision functions in collision.test.ts for sure.
Yeah, and then how would you bundle tests for the same function together?
Yeah, there must be a describe or something, right? I don't know. That's a good question because I've been writing RSpec.
Yeah, describe is pretty problematic. Not that it's not useful, but we run into this issue in at work. Because a lot of times when you do inside your setup functions, you want to assign variables that you will then use in the actual individual examples themselves. And how you communicate that to the examples is tricky. I know in RSpec I would do something that I'm not sure if it's an anti-pattern or not, but I would like set a variable to null at the top of the describe block, and then I would assign it inside of the setup or the before, and then I would reference it inside the it. And in JavaScript, you can do something similar, but you definitely can't do that in PHP. So,
these are all correct, and my test is wrong. Hey, this is pretty cool.
So it works.
Yeah. This one never even makes it because of the box check, but yeah.
So I do wonder if in line formula we're dividing. We're doing a division that normalizes things.
I mean, it's rise over run. We are. We're getting a normalized slope.
But what happens? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Huh. Yeah, I think we end up with something always normalized because we're getting that and the y-intercept on the at x equals 0. So
okay, yeah. So yeah, this is definitely.
You wrote a sick line formula.
Wait, if the line formula is, oh, I see. Yes, okay, because the y coefficient is always going to be 1.
Yeah, I forget why that's true, but yes.
Right. Which is why that doesn't work.
Because we have our. If run is 0, we return this function, and then we let the next checker be like, "What's going on? This is a vertical line."
That's why it doesn't work if you have a vertical line, right?
Cool.
Maybe we should put a comment there. It doesn't work with verticals, something like that.
I mean, that's well.
It's kind of implicit. Oh, we do handle it. Okay.
We return a vertical line function when we get that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So it is normalized. Very good. We've convinced ourselves.
Yeah. This works. That's so cool. It's got tests.
Wow.
I agree. we started this because we wanted to see if we wanted turrets to have line of sight.
Yeah.
That was the original goal here.
Now we want to compose this segment overlap in a line to rectangle overlap, right?
Mm-hmm.
A line to axis aligned rectangle. It's probably segment to AABB, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Export const. Let me just get that back in there. Segment to AABB. And then, so we have S, which is a vec2, and we have AABB, which is a vec2.
Yeah.
And this returns, God, I gotta remember which function syntax we're using. Yeah. Equals. Okay, so, and are we just kind of mapping this as we just do it for each segment of the rectangle, right? Top, bottom.
Yes, we basically create 4 segments for the AABB, and then we don't even have to loop. There's only 4. We just basically say, like, if you collide with the top, return true. If you collide with the left, the south, you return true. If you collide with the east, you return true. If you collide with the west, you return true. Something like
that. In addition, because really, it'll be. We could apply rotation to this really soon too. This doesn't need to be axis line for much longer, which is nice.
Oh, very, very, very true. Yes.
Yeah, like in fact, we can take any 4 points of a rect and turn this into collision, which is sick.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to do rotated rectangle overlaps, I think actually there's a simpler way to doing it than doing the 16 comparison.
Okay.
You know, because like if we did like AABB to AAB, if we did like rectangle to rectangle, we could do just like compare the first segment to the first segment of the second thing, compare the first segment to the second segment of the second thing.
Right.
Like it'd just be like 16 comparisons, right? Up to you. But I think there's a faster way of doing it, but that's not a horrible way to start, especially because we're not like processor bound right now.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So let's see. So our top segment is 0, 0. This is just going to be a very annoying set of things to write. And then AABB 0, 1. Wait, sorry. Our first point is first point. Our second point is from that x to the y. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even need to do from values on that first one, right? I think you're just describing AABB 0.
I'm just describing crap. Wait, but we need 2 points. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's just like that yeah, exactly. The expression on line 90 is just AABB 0.
That's totally correct.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep, and that means that the second one of this is AABB 1. From values AABB 0, 0, AABB 1, 0. Nope.
1,
1. Yeah.
Left one is going to be AABB 0 stop.
That's nice. Yeah. I like that. At least each segment ends on an existing point.
Starts or ends with, yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Cool. And then this is the top to bottom, and this is AABB 1. Or no. 0, 0. AABB 1, 1. Wait a minute. No, 1, 0. It's the x value of the second point, which should be at the bottom.
The left, but that's the y coordinate, right?
Crap. Yep. But then top and left are the exact same value now.
top should be AABB01 as the last expression. It should be 0, 0.
Yep.
0,
Yep. Okay.
AAB0.
Okay.
So line
great.
89, I think it's still wrong, right?
Oh, sorry. It should be 0, 0, 0, 1.
0. Sorry, it's 0, 1. Sorry.
Oh no, it's X.
It should be 1, 0, 0, 1.
0. Yep. Yep. Thank you.
It is super confusing. It is.
This is some.
Yeah, it makes me wish that vec2s had a .x.y expression.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because
yes, that would be really, really nice. And okay, so this is that point that we just wrote actually, which is the.
Yeah, if it make it easier, we could do const northeast equals that vec2.from values. Do you see what I'm saying? We could actually assign the corner point to a variable so that it's a little bit easier to think about, right?
Oh,
so
yeah, why not? It'll be nice. Because we use this twice. And then it's right segment that also starts in the northeast, yeah. And this is southwest.
Yeah.
I feel slightly better about that, at least for future readability. All right, so we're going to return segment S top or segment S bottom or segment S left or segment S right. Oh man, can't believe it's gonna make me do this. I know, right?
So I mentioned the Go generics thing earlier in the conversation because I think this is what the Go generics proposal makes you do. Like it doesn't do any inference.
Mm.
It decided that it was better to just be explicit every time you use something.
I mean, they're not wrong. Okay, so if we were to take this all the way back, we want to see. Oh man, you know, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
We should put this in debug mode so we see the turret shooting out its like ray to the player and hitting something if it misses or if it doesn't get.
Oh yeah, we could definitely draw the scanning ray.
Yeah. Sure. I want to do that. Maybe that's we should make a scanning ray and then maybe we can do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let's look in our entities and in our turret.
Does the renderable for this? What is the renderable that we're using for this?
The turret just has a path renderable.
Oh god, I wish there was a way that we could compose that, right?
Can't we? Isn't renderable now?
It is a generic thing, and it only returns one renderable.
Oh, what? I thought we made something.
Yeah.
Didn't
what does the player do?
Oh, the player returns renderables. Oh, I think this is part of iRenderable is what we're looking for.
Sure. And that should be able to return like multiple things, right? Yeah, that's great.
As long as it has get renderables, yeah.
I actually think that this is the way maybe debug mode should work, is that every entity emits its own renderable.
That makes sense, yeah. We can
Or there's, if we do ECS, there is a there's a system that looks over shooter components and that kind of thing. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that we could do this.
Well, I mean, I think since the game is what knows about debug mode, really game just has to expose this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because we get that. Well, actually, I'm not sure that render gets game. Yeah, it just gets entity. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it should know whether or not it's in debug mode, right? I feel like the variable should have like some options that you can throw in there.
Yeah, but so if we really need to set some global stuff too, like since we're in JavaScript, maybe it's window.debug mode is what's getting set.
Sure.
Which is, I know, a little bonkers.
Yeah. So the way that we're doing debug mode right now is we're cheating, right? We're like the game knows about stuff that technically shouldn't. This is like a violation of like visibility a little bit. Which is fine. It's just that it's hard to extend. That's the only reason why it's bad is that it's hard to extend.
Yeah. So for our shooter, we're going to shoot an invisible ray at the player and see if we hit it. And I guess we're going to, in this case, we want to shoot the same ray at the player, but if it hits a wall, if we hit something else, we're going to see if anything is between us and the player, essentially. So we're going to look for what collided with our ray, and then is the distance of anything closer than the distance of the player. Does that sound right?
And in particular, we're looking for walls, right? So we're going to iterate over entities and then pull out walls specifically, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. So we have our...
How do we do it? How do bullets work? What do bullets look for? Do they look for anything with a hitbox? Oh, they look for damageables.
Yes, they're looking for... Yeah, if there's no damageable, they just skip it.
So we basically want... And this is where it's useful to know where you intersected, because if the player is in between a wall and a turret, we still want the turret to fire, even if the turret notices that it overlaps the wall.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying, yeah, the check has to be, are any of the objects closer than the player too. So we get our segment of length range from control point of the turret to control point of the player.
Yes. So I guess basically what we do is the shooter projects a ray over all, and then it iterates over all damageables, right?
Yep.
And then if the damageable is the player, and the player is the closest one of those things that you intersected with, then you will shoot. Or you will just not shoot. Right? Because this check here, because like, I think, when does the turret actually shoot? Does the turret shoot when it's gonna hit the player? Or will it shoot as long as the player's in range?
I think it's gonna shoot if it could hit the player. Well, and we could check too, like we could say it could be damageables, it could be damageable walls only, right? Like we could, because you want to keep it so turrets can shoot themselves.
Yes.
So like maybe it's just like once the player is out of sight in this wall area, but this is still valid. Like I can still get the back turret to hit the front turret.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. You know what though? Actually though, I think the thing you were talking about was you were most excited about having. God, this tank is slow now. You were most excited about having like tricking turrets into firing at each other. So it could actually be, because this is a harder game to play.
Oh, you're saying if the
like if they do see each other, like we actually would say like don't shoot at yourself or don't shoot at your friends if you're. But in that case, the player was the closest damageable. So I do think all damageables make sense, right?
Yeah,
like,
this is a tricky. Yeah, we'll start with that. We'll
Yeah.
keep it simple, and then I think that it is funny when turrets can hit each other.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's that if the player is I think the logic is if the player is the closest damageable, then it will shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it won't, and that'll cause them to not shoot each other in the back, and then you can have your little like cluster of five turrets over there, right?
Yep. And then we can still make maps and levels where you run between turrets to
Exactly.
get them to shoot each other.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so our vec2 is going to be aligned from e.transform.position to player.transform.position. And actually this will, if the player is between two turrets, it won't even check that far probably, which is nice. It'll just hit the player first and be like, I should shoot the player.
Right.
And we'll also eliminate some extra AAB. We'll get all our AABB checks out of the way first probably, and not have to do too many other intersections. Okay. So g.entities.entities.map. Oh.
We need to iterate over the keys.
Oof.
Or we could do for each let or const k in, something like that. Or for space const k in or id in. Yeah.
Yeah. g.entities.entities.
So when we do the ECS thing, eventually this is just going to be iterating over the damageable components. And this will just be in a system somewhere.
I was going to say, I'm actually copying the thing out of Bullet because we already have a system for looking at damageables, which is nice.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, it makes me interested in having a system for doing this check, so we can only have to do it once every time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So let's see, if it's no damage, don't worry about it. And then instead of AABB overlap, we're going to do if segment to AABB, line of sight, the damage was AABB. Ooh, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is true, we're
going to stick it into a list of
Yep, okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm. God, what is it? Shovel?
Push.
Push? Too many languages, man.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly how it is.
God. So let's see. C is a full entity. We could probably only take the transform, to be honest. No, we want C, because we want to know if it's the player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Well, how do we know it's the player? Do we need the ID, or do we just... What happens if you do equality for object in JavaScript? That's just a pointer comparison?
Yeah, player and C should be equivalent.
Okay.
I think.
It doesn't do like a value by value comparison, right?
No.
Hey.
No.
I just looked over at the chat.
Chat.
My friend Maddie is watching right now, or she was. She's Maddie Vision. She has a very cool emoji wave cat thing here, and she's asking, "Is this the engine?" Oh, she's still here. Fantastic, nice. She's asking, "Is this an engine we wrote?" And the answer is yes.
Yep.
Foolishly, we went down the route of writing our own engine.
It's so delightful. Foolish.
Yeah, no, it's great. I don't know. We understand how it works. We can swim in our own shit. Right.
Yeah. Is there I want to JS array sort? That's possible, right?
Yes, we can sort. I believe you pass it in a comparison function.
Even better, because I was just going to sort by distance.
Yes. And once you pass what you return is -1. Like you take as its arguments like A and B, and you return -1 if A is supposed to sort before B. Return 0 if they're equivalent, or you return something that's greater than 0 if B is supposed to be sorted in front of A.
Ah. Ooh, Oh, I see. I get 2 object compares. I gotcha. Okay, great. I'm going to map this. I just need to do a map first to a tuple of C and vec2.distance. C.
Oh, I don't think you have to.
No?
No. I think you can just do potential hits.sort, and then pass in. What you're getting is a function that gets 2 entities.
Right.
And can we use the letter?
Yeah.
C is wrong, actually. I think we just copied it from Bullet. C makes it sound like it's a component. What it is the other entity. We can't use E because the E means this entity. So maybe we should call it other. Other is fine too.
I like other.
And then, yeah, and Maddie, we're using TypeScript and using Parcel to go into the browser. It's a really quick way to program.
It probably, man, everyone who sees the stream probably thinks our game runs at like 10 FPS when in fact it's a beautiful 60. just wait till I get my Alienware box, dude.
Well, what we can do is we can have when we turn debug mode on, we need like a little FPS meter in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, we do.
That's constantly oscillating between like 59.999 FPS and 61.001 FPS. So you sort and you get A and B, and these are entities. It's entity A and entity B, right? And then
I was just thinking that this actually does a lot of vec2 distance calculations, when in fact we only need to do it once each time, right? And then just sort by.
Oh, that's why you're going to do the map.
I was going to map it and just do this once. Yeah,
that is totally fine. I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's okay. Because then the sort, or then this is A minus B.
Yeah. Maddie's showing off now. She says, "This is basically this sort of whole construct that we have makes sense. It would make sense to her if she could get audio synthesis and an audio callback working at 44.1 kilohertz. That's way above our pay grade.
Oh yeah, I can't help you there.
She does synthesis and stuff like that. So there are I think there are audio APIs for the browser that you can use.
We'll have to see what happens when we add sound.
Yeah.
Minus B.
Got a sneeze?
Bless you. Right, A1 minus B1, because our distance.
Is that absolute valued?
Does it need to be?
Distance is distance.
Distance is absolute values. Yeah.
Absolute values, yeah.
So this should sort itself. The problem is that it actually wants to know that this is a entity and a number.
Yeah. And it returns a number.
I feel like sort probably knows that about itself, though maybe it's.
It should know.
Okay, what are we grumping about here? Number or entity? What? What is map? What am I mapping to? Hello. It's an entity. Oops.
You know what it is? Your return value needs to be typed. You need to assign your return value in your map to something that, because it thinks it's an array of either of those things and not a tuple.
Yep. Thank you. Entity number.
This is maybe my one beef with TypeScript is that it's like almost but not quite. Right? It can't actually create a tuple, like a real tuple type, because there's no runtime tuple, right?
Yep, at least I don't need to specify this type anymore. Okay, so if potential hits, wait, am I sorting in place? Am I mapping in place? I need to potential hits equals potential hits.
Does it not copy over? I don't usually sort in places.
I would expect map definitely doesn't. So maps return a new one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm looking it up right now. It's an in-place sort. It is in place.
Great.
Cool. Yeah, generally sort is done in place.
Okay. Well, okay. So
if you wanted to, you just make a copy, right?
Yep. So and we do with map essentially. So we've just done that.
Yeah.
If potential hits not equals player, return something.
And the player is like g.player. It's a game.
The way I think we already extracted it because we're inside your gplayer map on optional.
Oh.
You already did that work.
Okay.
All right, wait. I want to make sure is this server even running? Okay. Okay, so dang.
Now they're like, I will not shoot. What?
I'll never shoot you.
Yeah.
Boo. Okay. Oh, it's so close. Let's just look at this real quick.
Yes.
We've got our line of sight. We've got our potential hits. We're going through all our damageables. I'm just gonna log out.
What if? Yeah. Sorry.
What were you gonna say? I want to see if we get anything in there. Yeah.
Exactly. That's fine. It might print out a ton of shit. That's the only problem.
Yep. Okay.
Now that we're in range, right? As soon as we get out of range, it'll stop printing, which is good.
Well, that actually confirms everything I wanted to know, which is that our segment to ABB is working. And when we move into range, suddenly we show up in the box, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. That means potential hits is maybe nonsense. Did I do something stupid here? The distance from the position of our potential hit to E, which is us. Oh, okay, wait. Let's console.log potential hits 0, 0, player.
Sure.
Yeah. I assume this check is actually happening every time. So we get 2 different entity IDs.
Oh, you know what it is we're not checking the orientation of the...
Oh, no, wait.
Turret, right?
It's getting itself.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It is a damageable. It sees itself as the closest object.
Yeah, the other thing is that the line of sight is not right, I don't think.
It's a line from the...
Well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fine, but it's not 100% correct because the turret doesn't perfectly face the player. Right? The turret has a rotational speed.
True.
And because, well, I guess the player is slow enough now that the turret can probably always perfectly face the player every frame.
Ah, dude, it works.
Okay. Yes. Nice.
But I see what you're saying because the line of sight is actually the orientation of the turret projected forward.
Exactly.
Which is why I can make it shoot. I made it shoot that once. So okay.
It's kind of close enough because the player drives much more slowly now than was before, and so like the turret essentially can like perfectly follow the player at this point.
But if I do this, got a window. You know, I agree, but I think you're right that it should be based on orientation because I feel like we maybe have advantage here.
Okay.
But you know what? It's like 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna say that we gave these things lines of sight. They got eyeballs now.
This is very cool. Can we drive between two turrets now and get them to shoot at each other though?
Let's find out.
It's gonna be hard because you have to. Oh yes.
Yeah. So actually, I wonder if they're holding back firing occasionally. Oh no.
Yeah.
The game crashes when this happens.
Oh, because it's looking for the player. We need to make sure that it can check for null. Well, no, I mean it.
This is in the thing. It should. This should be within the player.
This player
doesn't get destroyed either. Interesting.
Do we ever remove the player from the entity list, or does it just blow up?
We do remove it
because it stopped. Well, if we do remove it because it stops rendering, right? It's not like we have like a rendering flag.
Oh, that's true.
So we are hitting essentially like a null pointer exception.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep, sure looks that way. That's okay.
Yeah.
Next time we'll figure out depth. Hey, we got intersections working. Collisions. This is really cool.
And I'm glad we were able to accomplish that. Like, if you look online, the other tutorials for segment to segment intersection are a lot more magical, but I feel like we did a good job deriving it from first principle, right?
Yeah, well, and maybe we want to consider if we want to consider a faster algorithm, we can certainly do that.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine now.
Yeah. Well, let me throw something out there, which this this at 60 frames per second for me. I don't think it runs at 60 frames per second anymore.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, this has a slowdown as I get close to turrets, which is interesting. Oh, and I put a syntax error there, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slowdown because as soon as you get in range, every turret is iterating over every entity.
Yep.
And what we want now is like, I'm not 100% sure what the implementation is going to be, but you kind of want like we don't have any notion of a broad phase collision detection. Broad phase where you have, usually what you do is you partition entities into like a scene graph that is like, it's like a tree based on distance.
Mm.
So you divide, in 2D, you would have a quad tree. You'd like divide the whole world into a parent node with 4 children. And the 4 children are like the northwest quadrant, northeast quadrant, the southwest quadrant, the southeast quadrant. And then each of those quadrants you divide into 4, right? Mm-hmm. And then you could basically pick which nodes you actually are interested in based on a distance algorithm or something like that. And then you would basically iterate only over the entities that are inside those nodes, right?
That's cool.
The loose idea of it.
Yeah, when I like at least that this is scoped to when you're out of range, like the turrets that are over like way on the west of the map have really just done this and stopped. So we have some optimization at least.
Yeah. So I don't know what's slow. It could be that the actual segment to AABB is slow, or it could be that we're just doing too many comparisons. Because it's currently like every turret in range is comparing against every single damageable. Right? We've got a lot of damageables. We have a ton of walls.
Yeah, I added a lot of walls. Yeah, and I wonder. Yeah, that's really interesting. Possibly also. Yeah, the quadrant thing makes sense. So I was like, can we eliminate damage walls based on distance? Because this vec2.distance check, I assume, is much cheaper than.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I being hit by the line of sight?
I think we talked a little bit about spawning and culling, right? This notion that you're actually just like putting entities into play versus not.
Yep.
And we don't actually have to remove entities entirely from simulation, but we could flag them as being like not really considered for certain systems.
Yep.
As they're out of view or something like that. Like that would be one way of dealing with it. Or not just out of view, but maybe sufficiently out of view.
Yeah, well, see how it feels on you. This is the first time I felt like a little frame jitter in the game, and there are hundreds and hundreds of walls on the map now from just painting them in. So
Yeah,
I at least feel like we kind of asked for this math, and it feels like a fine expected problem to show up.
yeah, definitely.
All right, is this
Session
15?
16. Perfect square.
16?
Yeah.
Whew. And how fitting that we worked on hitting squares with lines. Lines of sights. The hills have eyes. The hills for turrets. Boom.
Lines of sight. That reminds me of the expression like Whoppers Jr.
Whoppers Jr.
Yeah.
The
AirPods Pro.
Yeah, I was gonna say you pluralize the iPhone's 11 is how it's pronounced, according to Tim Cook.
Is that really how they want to pronounce that? I have 10 iPhones. I have 10 iPhones 11.
You have 10 iPhones 11. Yes, they are the iPhones 11, and the iPhones 11's Max. It's bad.
We have 3 or 4 MacBook Pro between us.
Those are MacBook Pros, not the MacBooks Pro, I think.
Oh, because the MacBooks themselves are the professionals. Is that what you're saying? They're like suit and ties. They're like wearing suit and ties and stuff. The MacBooks themselves. I
guess so. Yeah, they specifically the way iPhone is personified in Apple marketing is strange.
So they actually do have that linguistic. I thought it was the AirPods Pro thing that they first started that in, because you had to pluralize AirPods, right? If you buy the singular product is AirPods, right?
That's true.
That brought its problem, this grammatical conundrum, into stark relief.
Let's see. Hang on. I totally.
Gruber will tell us. What does Gruber say?
I got this from a Gruber article. Yeah. He just doesn't even talk about it. He's just like, oh yeah, these are the iPhones 11. Damn it, John Gruber.
Well, he's kind of like in Apple's thrall, though, right? I always think of him as the kind of like
Oh, absolutely. He writes things correctly, yeah, for their marketing language, which is a lot.
He did call him out for the whole Hey thing that happened a couple days ago.
Hey what a dumb problem. I can't believe Apple is gonna do that.
Yeah.
The most infuriating kind of rules are the ones where you can watch someone else breaking them and just be like, and they're enforced on you, and you're just like, what the fuck? Why would you do this to me? And that is one of those.
I'm actually kind of interested in Hey. They claim that everything that they do is static HTML, like they do only server-side rendering.
That's amazing. Okay, that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure how true that is, because they also, like, the same article mentioned TurboLinks, and I'm like, wait, TurboLinks is not server-side rendering. It kind of is, but it's still like a bunch of JavaScript magic and history manipulation, right? So
yeah, I guess, but it does chunk server-side rendered pages together with JavaScript. Yeah, okay.
I actually think TurboLinks is like worse.
Much worse. Like, yeah. Speaking of parts of Rails that are bad, I fixed a work bug by removing Spring this week.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. If you've ever encountered Spring, it's just not good.
Spring I encountered in my first. Well, I think I encountered Spring first at IFT. Actually, that's where Maddie and I worked together. But yeah, Spring is a thing where it keeps the Rails application in memory between different test runs or something like that, right?
Yeah, and it's Rails and RSpec and console. Like, it tries to keep every Ruby process in memory once.
It sounds pretty terrible because like there's so many global variables and things in.
I've never seen it work. Just like TurboLinks, I've never seen it work.
TurboLinks is one of those things when I tried using it the first time, it just didn't work, and I would every 3 or 4 months go like, I'm going to try using it again. It just like didn't work, and it made me
still doesn't work.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I felt like it was abusing me a little bit.
Yeah. And it's weird that they keep updating it because someone must use it. It's them, but search me. Anyway,
Maddie
excellent
says
stream.
that she is now happy not to be using Rails on a day-to-day, which I don't know.
I'm very excited that my job is actually using Rails on a day-to-day basis because I love Rails.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh no! You can only drive one way through this hole.
Oh yeah, our collision detection
It's about to get better.
It's about to get way better. Yes, let's.
Yeah, I feel like we've got the primitives for some really good stuff now. So
Yeah, I think the problem is that our collision resolution pushes stuff out by an epsilon, which means that you're pushed towards an opposite wall by an epsilon, and therefore are never able to get out of it, or something like that, right?
Yep. I really like that it doesn't shoot through walls now too, because it sees a wall between itself and the player.
Yeah, that's great. These turret gunners are now they've gotten bachelor's degrees in turret operation. Not to be an educational elitist, but this is heavy machinery. You really need to be trained properly to use it correctly.
I mean, they at least went to turret trade school.
Yeah. Yes, hey, they have the Microsoft certified turret operation certificate, which costs a low $5,000.
Oh, you can kind of snipe them now. That's interesting. Why can't you see me? Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Okay, well, I think I found a bug.
Yeah, that should be able to see. Like the one in the back. Well, the one furthest away from you should definitely be able to hit you straight up, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I can hit. We'll add some debugging sightlines to this and see what they see. I guess since my box is actually up on this top edge, maybe this is hitting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, the position is from the center of the box, right? It is true that our sightlines are being drawn, but it shouldn't matter because tip should always be in line with the center.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible? Oh, hang on. There's still damageables here. They're just invisible.
Are you talking about the other walls?
Fuck. I thought so.
The other walls are definitely being removed from simulation, right? We actually do remove them from.
Okay, yeah.
That's how they stop rendering, because the renderer doesn't have a flag that says there's no dead flag that causes them to stop rendering. All right. Well, we got something close. Yeah, got a freaking game.
This actually feels I feel like this is the kind of bug I'm happy to find because everything else seems like it's working right now. So. I like that this game gets closer and closer. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's so much. It's starting to widen up. I think maybe we should start making a list somewhere of like mechanics we want to implement, because it's like starting to simultaneously the problems are getting harder, and also there's more stuff to do. So we're now in the I was actually explaining to somebody I actually think it was my mom who asked me because I told her about the stream.
Nice.
And she's like, well, how's it going? I was like, oh, I feel like maybe we're getting out of the easy 10% or the easy 5%, and we're getting into the hard 95%. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I am tempted to... We are closer to doing net play than we are far from being net play.
Hell yeah.
That's a tough sentence to kind of construct. But we are closer. We are more close than we are far from getting into the net, unpeeling the sort of net play garlic clove. and it was funny. I was actually just reading this article from the CTO of Figma. He was talking about because Figma he actually used the word multiplayer. He called Figma a multiplayer web app.
Oh, that kind of makes sense, huh?
It all makes sense, right? It's like Google Docs, where multiple people are editing the same state, and they need a view of the state locally that makes some kind of sense to them. And I actually think that article might be worth reading. It's relatively well written, and and he talks a bit about, like, Google Docs uses this notion called operational transform, which is like this old algorithm for doing that kind of synchronization. But I think games are a little bit more towards the Figma model, and he uses the language of CRDT, which is like consistently replicated data types.
Interesting.
Which is basically just to model everything as like a stream of updates to objects, and then have some arbiter that resolves between those updates. So it's a blockchain, is what I'm saying. We're going to make a blockchain.
Oh no! Okay, we can do that again.
Yeah, but that's kind of what a video game is, right? Like each client has updates that they want to do to their view of the state, and there needs to be a central arbiter for that. Right?
Makes sense. We should. I would be interested in. I mean, maybe. I guess part of it, the architecture is we move to that locally, then we add the network layer, but the local client still needs to simulate those object updates, right? Essentially.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. And actually, what's exciting to me is that we could actually literally make Figma, because our level. How awesome would it be if our level design tool was also multiplayer, right? Like we're working on the same map at the same time. That would be dope.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Sold.
Yeah.
Neat, dude. All right. Well, thanks for Saturday's stream. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there with us.
Yep. Maddie, thanks for tuning in. And you're asking a lot of great questions about NetPlay. Happy to talk about them directly. Actually, we'll invite you on to stream, and we can talk about NetPlay together.
Oh, that'd be great.
Maddie's an accomplished game developer herself, so
cool.
She'll have things to say.
Oh, I'm so excited. We're gonna have a guest. Yes. Cool. All right. Goodbye, Twitch.
Okay. See everybody. Stay safe.